Post the link.
And we are live. Bringing it to you. Bringing it back.
Bring it hard, bring it fast.
Checking the mic. So, Brian had a pretty good suggestion last time that instead of just running through everyone, we talk about the top three undrafted and kind of skip around. Maybe just talk about the tops and the bottom.
And some, like, out of the ordinary shit. Or,
Yeah.
like, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, he had a pretty standard game.
Right.
25 for 36.
Let's do that. Because it's not like everyone's listening anyway. At first it was
It's not
like...
anyone's listening.
Right. At first it was nice to have everyone's name mentioned, but...
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool with me.
And I've got who everyone picked, and you can pull up their stats, right?
Yes, I can pull up their stats.
And I have how many fantasy points they got.
That's perfect. That's all that I don't have. Oh, no, now people are going to see it. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'll see it eventually. And boom. Alright, got this link. Okay, hopefully someone can tell us if the audio is actually working, because we won't know.
Hello to all of our loyal fans. Let's give everyone a moment to catch up to the live. Alright, sounds like the audio is working.
It definitely is.
Get to hear how much I hate the sound of my own
You
voice.
just have to get used to it. I'm surprised you're not used to it.
Oh, I hate it.
It made broadcast journalism worth it, because that's where I got used to it.
I still haven't listened to the first few episodes of this season, so.
Of our podcast?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to.
I normally do.
Just go back, or I'll put some highlights out there.
I normally do. Hello, and welcome to the Three Step Flop. We're in a new location today. We're up in Tony's room.
Third location in 3 podcasts.
Yeah, we're changing it up. I've got a mobile mic today. I can move all around.
That's really what's important.
Yeah. This is a strange week because we don't have a guest.
Yeah.
So we need a lot of people in the comments this week helping us out.
Shit to talk about.
Yeah, because
Now,
Lord knows we don't know anything about football.
On the bright side, I did pull quite a few highlights
Good.
that we can react to and give our opinions on.
Good, we're gonna need them.
A lot of it's some spectacular plays, some egregious injuries and hits, and some terrible penalty calls.
Good, because you actually didn't watch a lot of football this
I
weekend,
watched
did you?
about the first quarter of Red Zone, and then I took a nap, and I didn't watch anything the rest of the day.
I love that red zone. I
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, it's obviously way better than watching a game by itself, which I think you had talked about, how Red Zone, like watching a Bengals game just all the way through,
Right.
is just boring, because it's like,
It's boring if you don't care about the teams,
Right.
like myself. Like, the only reason I watch the NFL is because of this league. So Red Zones is the best thing we have for this league, because I get to watch all of your quarterbacks performing well, and I get to laugh.
yeah.
What we really need is a like reverse red zone,
Right.
where they show all the interceptions, which essentially they do. They pretty much
do, but it would have to. They could do like a reverse red zone where, whenever like, I don't know, the bad quarterbacks get the ball
Right.
and they're like backed up in their own end zone.
They get sacked. We need
So
to
it's
cut
like
to
red
all
zone
those
for the
things.
other side of the field,
Right.
Like the opposite red zone.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right. Anyway, let's get right into the draft this week. Brian had a great suggestion over the group meet to, instead of just draining through the entire list, we're just gonna pick some of our favorites out, maybe our favorite nicknames and the best and worst performers, and we'll go from there. So let's start with the best, who was Austin, with 26.48 points. And that was the Thursday quarterback, Joe Flacco.
That's right. So the one football game that I did watch this week.
Because you were there.
Because I was at the game.
Yeah.
Bengals pulled it out, and if you would have watched either half, you probably would have came away thinking that either team won, because the Bengals absolutely dominated in the first half, and they looked like it was almost like how I imagine Patriots fans feel when they watch a game, except for this week. But generally, when they like, there's like some confidence there where you're like, well, I trust that our team's going to do okay. I've never felt like that with the Bengals ever.
It's kind of like the opposite of how Buckeyes games are for me. We normally do terrible in the first half, but I'm not too concerned. We normally do pretty well in the second half. So it's
well with the Bengals. It's I guess so. This is what happened. They scored 21 points in the first half, or 28 in the first half. It was 28-14 going into the half, but that's only because the Ravens scored like very late in the second quarter. So basically they were up 21-7 at very early in the game.
Yeah.
The problem is Marvin Lewis doesn't know what halftime adjustments are, and every other team does. So the Ravens apparently went in, and Harbaugh said, "Hey, we're doing this, and this wrong. Let's not do this, and this anymore." And the Bengals went in and said, "We're good, guys. We don't need to do anything different." So the second half was just an exercise in just trying to hold on to the lead with all of our might, and it ended up working out.
Right.
So
the Bengals with the best record in the division. But we're not here to talk about the Bengals, really.
No,
we're here to talk about Flacco.
Yes.
Joe Flacco. How did Flacco do?
He threw 55 passes. So right off the bat, 32 for 55. What's that? 23 incompletions, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 4 sacks, and a lost fumble. So definitely a lot going on there.
That is a lot.
When you drop back 55 times, you're going to score some points in this league generally.
That's what I want to see. I mean, even Roethlisberger had a good game. He had like 3 touchdowns or whatever. I think despite the 3 touchdowns, he still only ended up with -8 points or something, because he threw like the ball 80 times.
Yeah,
I
think I saw that they ran like 70 something plays and 55 of them were passes.
Yeah. So if you get a guy that throws a lot,
I mean, basically the Carson Palmer strategy.
That's what I was gonna say. Carson Palmer was perfect.
Yeah,
because he threw a lot and he wasn't good. So that was
right.
Best,
he was good enough to be the starter on almost every team that he was on.
Yeah.
But not good enough to actually be good.
But Austin ended up with 26.48 points. I made up his nickname because Thursday quarterbacks didn't get a nickname, which we should encourage more often.
Oh,
we need Thursday quarterbacks to get a nickname.
How can we really do that, though, since you nominate it with the like?
Well, just after it's confirmed, throw a nickname out there.
So when you're... Okay, I see. That's a good idea.
Especially if we're going to enforce the point for no nickname rule from here on out, then Thursday quarterbacks need to contribute as well.
Well, I think John Diotel is going to be anti that rule.
Yeah, he is.
But that's okay.
He went with just Blake Bortles. Dumb, just normal Blake Bortles.
Which is upsetting because Blake Bortles is probably the quarterback with like the most nickname opportunity.
Oh, so much.
A lot of things rhyme with Bort.
But I'm also seeing an issue here where we're seeing some nicknames that praise the quarterback. And that's a problem for me.
Yeah. I think that Aaron was one of those last week. I'm not sure about this week.
This week, Cam came up with Ryan Tanner than you Hill.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
That's a compliment.
Especially for someone like Ryan Tannehill. If you know him, he's kind of like a pretty boy guy.
Right.
So he probably likes being called tan. And he also lives in Florida, so he's probably out there working on his tan most of the time.
Yeah. And then Brian came up with this nickname because it was an auto draft, Ty the Hot Rod Taylor, but he refuses to give a bad nickname to any Browns quarterback. So
Right, which I think is bullshit.
it is.
Again, that should be a point deduction.
It is. And I realize here that I have my nicknames out of order, so we might have to go back and look who drafted who, to be honest. We'll just use my memory.
I can pull it up right now.
I think I can handle it.
I already have it up here.
Perfect.
It'll be super duper easy.
Well, I was next up in the scoring, and I ended up with 26.1 points with, what was my nickname? Oh, Josh the Toolman Taylor Allen. I was struggling with the nickname. That was kind of the best I could come up with, and I'm not too proud of it.
I got to say, I was going to call you out for that one because I didn't see, like, I didn't understand where the connection was.
Do you understand now?
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
Right. I got
Tim
it.
the
They're
Toolman
both
Taylor.
named Allen.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But he ended up with 26.1 points, which I'm a little upset with. I mean, I can't be upset about that. But at one point, he had 34 points, and then got a last-second bullshit touchdown for in garbage time. So
Okay.
But the silver lining is I ended up just 0.3 points after Austin, so I'm not drafting last, at least.
That's good.
the
Last
only
is
thing-
a tough spot.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, I think is. I mean, I haven't watched. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of them, but the Buffalo Bills are bad.
It almost doesn't matter who you throw back out there because the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills is
Shit.
garbage.
Absolute shit.
I mean, how many sacks did Allen have? It was
Looks
4?
like 5 sacks. And
There was 5 last week too.
Yeah, I mean that you can't. You're talking about if you get sacked on average 5 times a game over the course of a season. What's 5 times 16? Like 50? No, it's more than that.
it's 80?
80. Yeah, that's what I meant. 80. That's a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
And
Sacks worth 2.
yeah, and also just more opportunities for injuries, more
Mhm.
opportunities for fumbles, for rushed passes that get intercepted.
Right.
I think there's something to be said about starting with the offensive line when you're deciding on who to pick.
Yeah.
Because even if you have a decent quarterback but behind a bad offensive line, they're probably not
they're in
going to be able
trouble.
to do a ton.
Yeah.
And a team also, I mean, they do have McCoy, but if they have a poor running game too, then all of a sudden they can stack the box with 7 or 8 guys. It's like when Adrian Peterson was playing for the Vikings and they had no passing game, they would just bring 9 guys up to the line and just say, "All right, AP,
Right.
try to get by us."
Right.
And sometimes he did, but he was AP, so a lot of teams don't have that.
Yeah. So it worked out for me. I'm back in the positives now. We had a lot of negatives this week. A lot of low scoring. Our league average now. Aaron is the only one who hasn't gone. He's playing tonight,
Right.
so that league average is going to change. But our league average was 6.39 points this week. That's low.
And isn't it normally like in the 14s? Or
12 or 13.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about less than half of the average.
I mean, we're looking at 4 negative scores, and we had 3 last week.
And there weren't any like insane scores. I think.
Lauren was negative 19.
Wow.
Yeah, let's talk about Lauren.
Shit.
She did the worst.
Who did Lauren take?
Guess.
Lauren
guess.
took Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Yeah, of course.
2 weeks in a row of the worst score. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is, I don't know, the greatest quarterback of all time?
He might be.
The second greatest? I don't know.
I think Winston's going to be fighting for a job if he performs like this again.
Well, this is the thing. I feel like everybody sort of assumes that he gets the job back when he comes back, and I'm sure that like a lot of football people would say that's the way it works. Since you like it's, I mean, the old saying was like you can't lose your job to an injury. That's what they would always say.
It's not an injury.
I
He's
know.
suspended.
That's why this is different. So this is not a injury where it's not your fault. This is something that he did that he got suspended. It was the
Right.
sexual assault stuff, right? Isn't that why he got suspended?
I think he punched an Uber driver, or maybe it was.
No,
sexual
it
assault.
was he like grabbed her
he?
by the P word.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't say the P word on
We
this
don't.
podcast because the P
No.
word is podcast. Yeah. So he allegedly, and then he lied about it. I remember following
Right.
that in the off season.
So
So good on the NFL for taking that seriously
yeah,
for once.
sure.
But yeah, I think Fitzy should retain the position.
I mean, if he does this again for a third game,
how do you
have
take
to.
him out? If he goes out and drops another 400-yard, 4-touchdown game, how do you say, okay, good job, back to the bench?
But if he performs terribly,
then you have an excuse.
then everyone's going to be, it's classic Fitzpatrick.
I mean, I will never say that. He's earned my respect, especially with how he showed up to the post-game press conference. But I could see, like, it puts him in a tough it puts everyone in a tough spot. It puts Jameis Winston in a tough spot. It puts Fitzy himself in a tough spot, and most of all Tampa Bay. Because now, I mean, there's a chance that locker room could be like, hey, we were not playing like this with Jameis last year, and they did have sort of a disappointing year last year when they were supposed to be one of those, like, now's the year they get over the hump type teams, and now Fitzy's got him in a spot where, like, him and Deshaun Jackson, I mean, first play of the game, he throws a 75-yard touchdown to Deshaun Jackson, which is basically what he did in the last game to Deshaun again.
Right.
So maybe they just have a nice little connection, and, I mean, if you're Tampa Bay's head coach, do you really want to mess with that?
I'll tell you what's going to happen, though. No one's going to draft him this week unless they auto-draft, unless an auto-draft happens, because that's what happened to Lauren. She got auto-drafted.
Right.
No one's going to draft him this week, and then this week he's going to do absolutely horrible. 3 interceptions, 21 incompletions. I'm talking a 40-point game.
Well, and here's a little bit that will add
Who's
some credence to your theory. They're playing the Steelers on Monday night.
And they're going
the Steelers are coming off of a tie to the Browns and a shit show loss to KC at home. Weren't they at home? It doesn't matter.
No,
they're 0-1-1, which is not like Steelers fans
which is
are
what the Browns are.
Right. They have the same record. No, right, yes.
Yeah.
They have the same record as the Browns, and Steelers fans are not used to that. And also, the Steelers are a team that when that happens, it seems like they just come out the next week and just go scorched earth and beat the shit out of whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
It's on Monday night. They're on the road, but this is just the perfect brew for the Steelers to come out and just absolutely annihilate Fitzpatrick.
I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. It's gonna be
but somebody's going to take him. I mean,
in our league?
Someone's not going to. No one is going to take him, and I think he's going to have a shit game. I think you're right.
I think that's the only reason that if someone takes him in our league, he won't have a shit game. I think
we control Fitzy's destiny in this league.
We absolutely do. That's you heard it here first, people.
Well, I believe I have one of Fitzy's touchdowns. This is just, it's just so gorgeous. Let me go split screen here. So this is first play of the game, 15 minutes on the clock.
Bring that up full screen for the peeps at home. Let them see that, yeah.
And this is, again, just Deshaun Jackson getting pretty wide open and just dropping dimes.
The way he was throwing to
money. And one little juke move, and that's all she wrote.
Man.
So you had that one. And then, I'm not going to show you all 4 because we have a limited amount of time on this podcast, but I do have this one as well.
A limited amount of time and an unlimited budget.
Right. That's what's really important. It's nice little over the middle, one little juke, and then this dude's going to run all the way for a touchdown. So he did get some help from some nice run after catch on both of those.
It's a rough day for Lauren.
A touchdown's a touchdown.
When you get auto-drafted like that, that's a real bummer.
Yeah, and you know that she wouldn't have picked – I don't think she would have picked Fitz with her pick if she didn't get auto-drafted.
No, she wouldn't have. So that's a real shame. That's a bummer.
But guess what, Lauren? I'm not that sad for you.
Don't care. Moving on. The next worst was John with normal-ass Blake Bortles.
Normal Blake.
Negative 8.5 points.
And that was in a Jacksonville Jaguars W over the Patriots, which we, in our B-team betting group, selected the Patriots at -2, I think they were.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
Nope. It's a real bummer, man.
Jacksonville's defense has been good for the last couple of years, and the Patriots, they might not be the Patriots of old. And everybody says that, I feel like, every year. This is Tom Brady's year to regress. The Patriots are regressing, this and that, and it never seems to be the case.
That's why I thought we would be fine at -2.
Yeah. I thought
Patriots always find a way to pull it out.
Right.
So.
And you're betting on them to win by a field goal.
Yeah.
That's not really – they're on the road, but it's the Patriots.
Right.
So I didn't think that was a bad pick, but who did Team A go with, off the top of your head? Yeah. I wasn't sure if they actually won their bet or not.
The Rams? No, sorry. The Chargers? I don't know. I think it was the Chargers.
Who cares about them?
Fuck them.
If they really cared, they'd be on the podcast talking about it, so we're not going to talk about a team. But Blake Bortles was 29 for 45, 377, 4 TDs, just 1 pick. No fumbles, no sacks. They did a good job protecting him.
Yeah, and that was not auto draft, so we can make fun of John
Yeah.
all we want.
Right. And again, it's hard to fault somebody for taking Blake Bortles because he's always been a popular choice in this league. It's also hard to fault someone for taking Blake Bortles when they're playing the Patriots. Not that the Patriots had a strong defense, but just my own feelings. I just don't like to bet against the Patriots because they just always seem to go against me. So maybe that's just a personal problem that I have to overcome.
Yeah, personally, I'm going to avoid Blake Bortles in the future. I think he's starting. I mean, he's already come around. That was the AFC replay of the AFC Championship game, right? So
right.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm going to avoid him if I have to.
Okay, Blake Bortles moving down the bad quarterback list right now.
I'm moving him down.
Very interesting.
All right, let's take a look at another highlight. Because that was the top two and the bottom two.
Right? Okay. How about this is perfect. This is Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels on the sidelines. Let's see when this was just at the start of the second quarter and they're down 14-0. So both of them, if fucking Twitter,
I don't know if I've seen this.
If Twitter's videos would actually load,
might not be able to see it.
Wow.
A real bummer.
Technical difficulties.
Well, while we're waiting on that, I'll go over some of my favorite nicknames or some of my least favorite. Marianne, I don't care how drunk you are. Eli Dumbface Manning is weak. So weak.
I mean, especially after such a great nickname for him last week from Austin. It was Austin, right? Yeah.
I liked yours, Fatal Car Crash. That was pretty good.
I thought about that one for a while.
That was pretty good.
I wasn't super happy with it. I was playing around with some other things, but I went with that.
That's good.
I'll take it. Thanks.
That's good.
This video is not going to work. It's
on.
actually ridiculous that it's not because I watched it earlier today. But Tom Brady was losing his shit, and then it cuts to Josh McDaniels, who's like yelling at the entire offense, just red-faced, veins popping out of his neck. It was pretty fun to watch, but we don't get to watch it, so fuck it.
Moving on. Next clip. You want to talk about some roughing the passers again?
Sure. There's no shortage of that. Well, let's talk about this, which I think was the most egregious penalty of the day, or rather, most egregious hit of the day, I guess. This is on Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Posted this in the group in case anybody missed it. This is exactly what the NFL needs to be trying to avoid. I mean, that's such a violent series of events, and then this whole brawl breaks out. Which I don't know if it's in this video, but one of the Carolina players came over and just completely destroyed the dude who hit Cam. Like
he got flagged.
He did get flagged, and there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't get flagged for retaliation." You kind of have to because you can't just let people take free shots. But I'm not mad at him for doing that.
No, I think he did what he was supposed to do. He got flagged, but then number 98 on the Falcons comes over and retaliates.
That's true.
Against him.
That's true.
98 got nothing.
I think it just got too chaotic, and they couldn't call penalties on everyone. It was kind of like a I'm Spartacus situation. Right. But yeah, this view I think shows you just how. I mean, right here, Cam is already going down in his slide. You can see his leg his knee is going to go under his left leg there. He's still a good, 6 yards away right here. And this is a similar situation to the Bengals Sean Williams hit where he had a moment to sort of break down and make a decision to launch at him rather than it just being like a split-second decision. I mean, he very clearly, now he's changed direction. He's heading straight for him. Cam is already down.
Right. So that's my question. When a quarterback slides like that, you don't even have to touch him, right?
He's down. He's down. He's giving himself up. You don't have to do anything.
So there's no reason for them to go that hard at them. It's not like he's gaining yards while he's sliding.
No.
He's down where he started to slide.
It's down where he starts to slide. Yeah, it's not even like if you can prevent him from sliding even further, he's going to get less yards. Like this is a dead ball, essentially. Now, again, full speed, great athlete, super fast, I understand. But, like, there's no excuse for this kind of shit.
No, you just got to touch him.
I mean, that is like life-altering type shit right there. I mean, he's spearing. He's going directly for the head.
So this is a case of a good call.
Yeah, absolutely. He was ejected. He was ejected. I'm guessing he's going to get fined. Okay, so one of the bad calls. This is from the Green Bay game.
This was a terrible call that resulted in a change of the outcome of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what was the situation? Do you remember exactly?
Yeah. So Minnesota was down on their last drive with I don't know, a couple minutes left, maybe a minute and a half or something like that, and this pass that you're about to see gets intercepted because of the hit that Clay Matthews lays down on Cousins, and they end up calling it a roughing the passer, so it's no longer intercepted. The interception would have essentially clinched the game for Green Bay. And because of the roughing the passer call... Oh, wait, this is not the...
Is this not it? This was the only one I could find from this game.
No, you showed me one. Hold on, keep going. That's not the one.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was the one that a lot of people were saying. So watch what happens here. I think I have the other one, but
okay.
While I have this pulled up. So this guy right here, 76, is coming in. He's seeing Cousins about to throw the ball right here.
Yeah.
So he comes in and he hits him. He thinks that Cousins already threw the ball. He doesn't know that this is a pump fake. So he wraps him and he lets him go because he thought that Cousins threw the ball.
Man.
So this is an example of why that rule is dumb, because this guy's actually trying to follow the rule and hurt them as a result. So like,
I haven't seen that. That's really...
I think this kind of got overlooked because you might not have picked up on it during the game, but he very clearly has him wrapped here, and then he just lets go.
Because if he keeps driving...
Look, he's looking downfield like he just threw the ball.
If he drives through, he's afraid he's going to get called for...
Right. So this lends credence to my proposal for the NFL Players Association that QBs should be two-hand touch.
I mean, people are going to hate that, but
if that was this case, the play would be dead, as it should be, because that guy was going to wrap him up and sack him anyway, and nobody gets hurt. And I think that's the best course of action.
That's what it's going to have to come down to.
I think it should be the QBs should be two-hand touch until they attempt to run with the ball. If they put the ball down and they start running, then you got to slide. Right. But otherwise, if they're dropping back to pass, two-hand touch and he's down.
Let's say two-hand touch is the rule. If quarterback's in motion of their throw, and you touch them while the ball is anywhere in their hands, is that down, or do you think they How can you determine if the quarterback would have gotten that pass off?
That's really tough. That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
I think that you would have to say, if you want to be consistent, that if he was still in possession of the ball, then he's down. So even if he's got his arm forward like this and the ball, like sort of like basketball with the buzzer, it's the same thing. If he's touched while it's in his hand,
the only way you could do it.
Now, obviously, the NFL and the fans would hate that. I don't think most people would think that's going to lead to a worse game overall, but it's better than this shit.
Plus, you can get guys that are being blocked really well, and they somehow just get two hands on the quarterback. That's gonna change the game.
I think that maybe so maybe you do like a wrap rule or something. I don't know. I just think that it's already clear that quarterbacks are treated differently, and you have to tackle them differently than any other player. So why not just go full on and just say we're gonna protect them 100%?
You're right.
That's my case to the NFL.
You're right. Now let's see if we can get that clip that I was talking about.
Oh, this one. Sorry, it's the Clay Matthews.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the actual call that was a bad call. Let's see here.
So Clay gets in there.
So right off the bat, this is just a normal play. It's not a late hit. He didn't come in late after he threw the ball. He's just going in as he's throwing it.
And if you watch, Clay will brace himself when he hits the ground.
Similar to Carlos Dunlap last week, where he got called for the flag.
Watch, Clay puts his own hands out to try and do his best to get his weight off of him quickly.
Right. He's not forcing down, spearing down, driving his shoulder into his chest.
Right.
And
Cousins let go of this ball so high in the air because he knew he was about to get hit. So it was a terrible pass. I don't think you get to see it in the replay, but it gets intercepted by Green Bay, and the game is essentially over.
That's probably the ball game. Yep.
And then
I'm sorry, I forgot to do the split screen here, just so the folks at home can see.
Oh, they didn't get to see any of that.
Yeah, my bad. So there you go.
You'll see Clay's bracing himself right there to try and get the weight off of him. And that pass ends up getting intercepted.
So I guess by rule, this is what's wrong right here. It's the fact that Clay's right shoulder is closer to the ground than his left shoulder.
I mean, he's literally entangled in Cousins.
But just to give Clay some guidance, since he needs some help here, Clay needs to hit hit the quarterback, and right here he needs to do a barrel roll this direction so that he can land on his back next to Cousins, who also lands on his back.
And then put a blanket over him and tuck him into bed.
And give him some warm milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only way to get around this.
Right.
So, again, week 2, I feel like it was a little better, but part of that problem was I spent not a ton of time, but I did spend some time looking for these calls, and the way that the NFL Reddit subreddit does it is there's like a highlight thread, and they put top level comments of all the games, and then people can request like, oh, this hit on this. Mm-hmm. None of the highlights were being posted of any of the crazy penalties that people were saying. So not sure if that's a conspiracy where the NFL is just taking down those plays specifically, but NFL, get your shit together on highlights, because the MLB is kicking your ass right now. I could go and find like Eugenio, wow. Eugenio Suarez grounding out to short in the 6th inning on a play that doesn't matter at all. I could find it right now. But you can't find even like scoring plays in the NFL.
Too many fucking copyright material or whatever.
It's unreal. But the thing is, the MLB used to be like that, where they were super, like, they would take down everything and you could never find it. And then they realized, hey, it's better for the game if we just allow this stuff to be shared.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as people aren't pirating entire games, and like, I don't see how it matters. But
so what happens after this is the Vikings end up going down and scoring, tying the game, and then neither kicker can kick a field goal. The Vikings kicker missed 2 game-winning field goals, and it ends up in another tie. So we had 2 ties.
Back-to-back weeks of ties, and back-to-back division games with ties, which even makes it more complicated when it comes to divisional records and all that. I am very anti-tie in almost every competition imaginable.
Agreed.
Especially when it comes to the professional level. It almost makes more sense to me that college games would be tied than pro games, because these guys, like, this is their entire life and they get paid to play. So they should play until the game's over.
So I was thinking about this today, and the whole thing is them trying to speed up the game, right?
I think it's that, and it's also the players' safety. They're not going to be okay with unlimited amount of overtimes, which I get.
But we need to not be limiting the most exciting part of the game. We need to be limiting the boring parts of the game. Try and speed that up however possible.
Agreed.
Cut time out from earlier. I mean, logically, you think, okay, we need to make this shorter, so let's cut from the end of the game. But that's not – the people who are still in the stands aren't upset that they're going into another overtime.
Right. They're not going to care. It's the games all are on Sunday generally. It doesn't – nobody's got anywhere to be anyway. But – yeah, there's the issue with, you can't just have these guys play forever. I understand that. But I think the college overtime is a better system anyway. The MLB, I mean, what it comes down to is the MLB is running into the same issue where the only place to really cut significant time is with ad space, and these leagues aren't going to do it. Mm-hmm. So they do things that are sort of half-assed, and like that give the illusion that they're speeding up the game, but it doesn't really feel like they're speeding up the game. And I think that the NFL, I mean, you could even go drop it down to 12-minute quarters, right? Drop it down to 12-minute quarters.
12, wow.
And extend overtime if you really need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm sure there might be people, NFL people who are raging.
I trust them.
But yeah, these are just ideas. Just ideas. What else we got?
Let's see. Any other interesting scores? Like I said, a lot of really low scores. Brian is still in the negative from his first week of a negative 34, but he had a good score this week at, what did Brian have? 16? And Brian, who did Brian go with?
He took Bradford.
Yeah, with Bradford with the first pick. So I was really happy he let me have Josh Allen. But Bradford's not a bad pick either.
Who the fuck does he play for?
Cardinals.
Okay.
And
they're terrible.
Right, and they were playing Minnesota?
Los Angeles.
Rams.
They lost 34-0.
Duh, they're not playing Minnesota. We just watched that Minnesota clip like 3 times.
Yikes. Sam Bradford, 17 for 27 for 90 yards. I'm sorry, is that a typo?
90?
He had 90 yards?
And Brian only got 16 points?
Did he play the entire game and he only had 90 yards? That's absurd.
That's terrible.
The longest pass he had was 15 yards. 1 interception. So they must have he had nothing going at all.
Just ran the ball.
I mean, the Rams defense is insane.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best defenses in the league.
Right.
Yikes, Sam. Poor guy. He's had such a tumultuous career. Just a lot of talent. Always was getting hurt when he was playing for the Rams, and they always had a shit team when he was there. And then he goes to Minnesota, and he gets hurt again.
Yep.
And they make it all the way to the Super Bowl or whatever the fuck. And then now he's on the shittiest team in the league. I mean, wow, you got to feel bad for him.
So let's talk about the top 3 undrafted. Unfortunately, they were really, really low scores this week as well. The top undrafted was Sam Darnold with 20 points, which is low for our normal undrafted standards.
Sam Darnold was a guy who I was going to take, and then I got cold feet because
he did fairly well last week.
Right, he looked pretty good, and he actually made some throws. I was looking at some highlights. He made some throws, and I was like, damn, that's pretty impressive. Right. And I don't think the Dolphins are really all that strong, although they did beat the Jets.
But it would have done better for your -4 points. So.
Yeah. I didn't do so hot, unfortunately. I bought into the Derek Carr, or really I bought into the Raiders are a completely dysfunctional meme, and apparently Derek Carr is still able to be salvageable, despite that.
So then let me just list these other 2 here. After Darnold, Alex Smith had 15 points, and Case Keenum had 13 points. Pretty low numbers for our best undrafted.
Alex Smith is playing for Washington these days, right? Yeah. 13 incompletions, 292, no touchdowns, no picks. That's like a Alex Smith, like early KC days line right there. Like Alex Smith never takes a ton of chances. He doesn't go out and throw 3 picks in a game, which just minimizes his point totals. But
I'm going to take a gamble and say we won't see him on top undrafted again.
It's not a sexy pick.
No.
Though. Let's see. Speaking of KC, while we're talking about it, I just wanted to highlight, since we're talking about so much negativity, let's get a positive highlight in here. This throw from Pat Mahomes was insanely impressive. So this is a touchdown pass to Travis Kelce, and look at how fucking fast he throws this thing. I mean, it knocks Kelce down. It basically pushes Kelce into the end zone. Like, I think this dude is legit as fuck.
Yeah, man, his first 2 games have been insane. He had 6 touchdowns yesterday. Or Sunday. Wait, that was yesterday.
Yeah. 6 touchdowns. I mean, I like Travis Kelce because he's been on my fantasy team since his rookie year. I always kind of watch him because he's really fun. He always does, like, crazy dances and shit, and he gets flagged for making fun of people and stuff. So I like him. But that is a pass that Alex Smith would have just, like, floated. And he just fucking lasered it to him. 6 touchdowns against the Steelers. I mean, I love it. Pat Mahomes might be my favorite player in the NFL right now.
He's been crazy. Pat Mapartments.
Mapartments doing it hard.
Pat Mansions. Anyway, do you have any Browns highlights? Can we talk about the Browns game?
I don't. There wasn't really a ton for me to grab. I meant to grab. I thought I grabbed Tyrod's touchdown.
That touchdown was dirty, dude.
But I can't find it. But yeah, that was a nice ass throw.
It was a bomb
from Tyrod, or
and
Tyrod,
a hell of a catch
too. We're calling him. Yes.
To Callaway.
Yeah. That was a nice little hookup there. If I had it, I'd show you. But
so the Browns end up tying it up or whatever with. Or down up by 1 or something. Yeah, they tied it up with that
18-18.
18-18. And then their kicker had the opportunity to put them up 19-18.
Wide left.
Missed it. Then the Saints come down the field. They end up kicking a field goal. So they're up 3.
Right, 21-18.
Yep. Then their kicker comes down, and somehow they have a chance.
The Browns had a nice drive to get into field goal range. They had a couple nice plays, get tackled out of bounds with 8 seconds to go at the 45.
And Hugh chooses not to risk it
He says we're gonna
send out
the
kicking team.
52-yarder.
What do you think? Do you think he should have risked it and got a few more yards?
I see the argument for either way. I think 8 seconds is usually like the cutoff. If it was 9 seconds, they probably would have ran a play.
Aaron Rodgers ran one with 7 seconds and did it in 3.
And Aaron Rodgers is not Tyrod Taylor in the Browns.
Yeah, I know.
So if it were me, if I was the coach, and you got a chance here to wait, no, it was to win the game, wasn't it?
No, that can't be right. It had to be the tie of the game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was to tie it. Unless, oh God, we're fucking this up so hard.
We are. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because let's hit it with 21 seconds left on the clock. That's what it says here.
Yeah.
The Saints went up with 21 seconds left.
Damn, they only had 21 seconds and they got all the way back down the field. That's amazing.
And then shanked it.
And then he shanked it.
Wide right.
Shanked it. I don't think I would have.
I would have kicked it. That's what I was going to say. I would have kicked it.
I think at the time, was like, man, I think I would have gotten one more off, maybe, and told Tyrod, if it's not there, just throw it out of bounds.
5-yard out route, you throw it whether he's open or not,
right,
and you throw it out of bounds.
But looking at the kick and how much of the yips that kid had, he wasn't going to make it if he was 20 feet in front of it.
Maybe, but here's the thing. I think that if you kind of have to give, basically, that Zane Gonzalez, the name of the kicker,
he dropped him, right?
Yes. He knew that after missing that extra point that he was probably fucked. So as a coach, you say, all right, man, you go out there, you nail this. People are going to forget. People might forget about what just happened. And, you might not be the hero, but you can send us to overtime. Maybe you'll get a chance to win it. I think that's what Hugh probably did. He said, well, here we go. This is for your job, basically.
Yeah.
And he missed it.
He lost it.
I did see somebody on Reddit say that Zane Gonzalez tried to get onto the plane, but he missed the entrance wide right, which I think is funny. I feel a little bad, but it's mostly funny.
So when do you think let's take a look at the Browns. Who do they got next week?
Let me pull it up here.
When do you think their first win's going to be? That's the question I was getting at.
Yeah, man. That's a great question. They got the Jets on Thursday night this week.
Because I'll tell you what, they look a lot better. These first two games, their defense looks really good. The offense needs some work. If the offense was there, they would have won both of these games.
And honestly, if they had a kicker that could make field goals, they would have won both games. Because even the field goal that was blocked, you could make the argument that it was only blocked because it was kicked so low.
Yeah.
So if they have a decent kicker in there, they might be 2-0. They do play the Jets on Thursday night at home this week, and then they go to Oakland against the Raiders.
Those are winnable games.
Both of those should be winnable. They play the Ravens after that, who look pretty bad in the first 2 weeks. So some opportunities, definitely. Thursday night games are always kind of a toss-up. It's hard. That might be an advantage to them. They're coming home after traveling to New Orleans.
If it doesn't happen in these next two games, I don't think they're winning the next 4.
Then they're in trouble. Chargers, Bucks, Steelers, Chiefs. Yeah, Falcons.
The next 6.
Bengals, Texans. I mean, yeah, it doesn't get any easier.
You got to get these two.
And weirdly,
we should check the comments, see if Brian is responding to this. Sorry, go ahead.
I used to, hate all the other teams in the AFC North, like you're supposed to. Always the Steelers hated the most, and then the Ravens, and then the Browns. But at this point, I kind of I'm pulling for him a little bit. I was hoping that Zane would nail that field goal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want him to make the playoffs,
but
I just want to. I know. That's where I was going to go next. It's also funny to keep the meme alive.
It is.
And
especially in the manner of these last two games.
Right. And I might enjoy that more than them getting a win. I'm sure I do.
I think I would rather see them lose at the last second or tie. I wish they tie every game from here on out.
I mean, that would probably be the funniest outcome. Or honestly, the best outcome would be a tie in every game, except they play the Steelers in week 17 and they beat the Steelers to knock them out of the playoffs, and they're 1-0 and 15. That would be the best outcome.
No, the funniest would still be tying every game.
Fair enough.
Because the funny thing is they always run that stat. It's been 630 days since the Browns have won their last game, but the Browns won that last game on Christmas when it didn't matter. I don't think either team was playing for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't.
So every game that they lost that other season, the whole season before that was a loss too. So if you take out that one win, it's been
3 years.
It's been a long.
I mean,
time.
when you put it into perspective like that, it's kind of like the who has it harder. And I know that like Browns fans are obviously going to say we do because of their previous records.
I think I might even say Browns fan.
But like, think about being a Bengals fan is all I'm saying.
No, come
because
on.
because the thing with the Browns is there's no reason for you to have any hope left.
But they still do. They're still.
Is it hope though, or is it just like? Well, let's just see how this shakes out.
They want that beer fridge to be open, man.
I mean, it's hope, but you're hoping for a win, which is attainable.
Right.
The Bengals are hoping for something that's not attainable at all, ever, and will never happen. I mean, you got people talking about Super Bowl this year.
Oh my God.
I mean, those people are patently delusional, and I don't even give a shit if someone's gonna. Oh, just wait until you're gonna be sorry when they're 12-4 and they're AFC champions. All right, yeah, maybe. I guess I'll be sorry. I'm probably going to be right. And you know what? If it goes the other way, that's okay too. So I am in an okay position right here. But yeah, I would certainly not want to be a Cleveland fan. Now, obviously, you get other sports that do well, and Cincinnati doesn't have that luxury.
Right.
And unless you want to count FC Cincinnati, but soccer is like barely a sport anyway.
Right, and they're new. We don't really know what's going on.
Right, and I can't lay claim to being a fan after only going to.
Well, they're now in the MLS, so. Now you can still jump on the wagon and not be considered a bandwagon fan, I would say. I mean,
yeah, and I think that they're young enough that nobody's going to accuse anyone of being a bandwagoner. They're just going to say, "Yeah, come on," because it's all good. They want more support. Mm-hmm. So, and I bought an FC Cincinnati shirt in year 1. So, I mean,
boom.
I spent money before like a lot of people even knew who they were. But anyway, this is not a football podcast. Right. It's a football podcast.
That might be all we have.
Well, I did want to say that I checked the comments and we have no comments, so no one's watching this.
We're killing it.
But I did want to show, let's see, at least one more clip. We've discovered the secret of Ryan Fitzpatrick. No, we haven't, because Twitter is fucked, and I'm not going to be able to watch this video anyway. It was a great video of him rubbing his beard against another teammate's beard, like this. Before the game, and there was speculation that was what was giving him the power. Unfortunately, we can't show you that. This might be the greatest clip that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm absolutely making a GIF of this and going to post it every Sunday for the rest of eternity. This is our favorite idiot-looking quarterback, Eli Manning, and doing, I would say, an absolute classic Manning face right here. This is after a sack, where, as you can see, he's somewhere in the bottom of this pile right here. Here's what he looked like.
That's amazing. Oh my God, it's like he's never played football before.
He looks like Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress. I mean, look at that. He looks like me when I wake up late for an exam.
Save all these for the group me, Tony. These are captionable gifts right here.
I mean, that is the face of somebody who just watched his daughter get gorilla fucked by 12 dudes. Like, that is the face that you would have. I'm just saying, that's probably what my face would be.
That's rough. Rough. Eli Dumbface Manning was appropriate then this week.
I think it was very appropriate.
Wow, she knew something.
Yeah, but
Speaking
also
of, we need to get Marianne and Cam on the podcast soon
as a duo.
Yeah, so no matter your performance, we know you guys have some tough schedules, so we want to get you on here. Whether you do well or poorly, you guys have an open floor. So, and Drew.
Yeah,
anyone
and Drew
who
too.
Has a really
yeah, and honestly, we can schedule it ahead of time if that makes it easier as well. It'll
be Mondays.
It's tough with Gator's schedule. We might have to do Mondays. We could potentially maybe do a Sunday one if we want to at some point. That might actually work.
That'd be weird.
Would that be weird?
Yeah. It could be Sunday late.
Yeah, you could do like after the 4 p.m. games, like around 7:30 on a Sunday.
Yeah,
might work. But anyway, yeah, we let us know if you want to be on. I know it was a tough week this week. Austin's working, Aaron's traveling, a lot of stuff going on. But we always, I mean, I bought 2 mics for a reason, so let's please get some use out of them.
We need to. Let's wrap up with our everyone's favorite segment.
Oh, of course. I almost forgot. Shame on me. That's right, everybody.
Who's that quarterback?
And who is it indeed? Now, unfortunately, we have no guessers.
We don't.
And we both know who it is. Yeah. So, fuck.
This is great.
Let me do one more cursory glance. We could save it. We could. Well, you've all seen it now, so maybe just think about it.
Yeah.
And maybe we can just pull it up next time.
Maybe this is what we should do.
Why don't we do that every time?
Oh, my God.
Wow. We should have figured this out a long time ago. Okay.
Wow, this is perfect. All right, take a look, people. Should we give the clues, or do we wait till next week?
No, because then people can look it up.
Right, you're right.
So we'll give you the image, and usually we'll do.
This is what we're doing from now on.
Yes,
Tony.
I love it. All we needed was nobody to distract us with comments to come up with a better solution. So from now on, we'll do this one to start, or at the end of the podcast next week, and then we'll show you the picture for the following weeks.
But this is going to require you to give me the names of the quarterbacks.
That's fine. I can do that. Okay, so as you can see, mugshot, close crop haircut, and that's pretty much the only context that you get. So think about it, brainstorm a little bit, think about some quarterbacks you might have had some law trouble.
I think what I'm going to try and do is leave some contextual background clues in from now on as well to help, because the silhouettes are real tough.
What could we do though without outright giving clues that would help?
Well, here's a clue. I don't even know who this quarterback is. I mean, that might be. I think that's a good enough clue.
I think
not that I know a lot of quarterbacks, but
I think that it's definitely obscure, but not the most obscure that we've ever done.
Right.
And
leave it at that.
I'll also say that he's somebody that is in like our era where if you grew up watching football, you have watched him play. All so right. He's not like somebody from like the early 90s or something. That's enough. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
That's plenty.
That's all I'll say.
This is a way better format.
So much better. I'm excited now.
Every single week, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't know how we do it.
I mean,
you know what it is? I'm not drinking this.
I know. I think that's what it is. Gator's head is clear. I've only had one beer, so we're just like clear and cordial today. And you know what? We didn't have a guest either, so maybe that just kept us a little more on task.
Things ran smoothly.
Yeah.
You know what? No guests from now on.
No guests, no comments. We're not even going to stream it. Me and Gator are just going to talk in my bedroom.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that was a great week. Thanks for being here, Simba.
Yes, Simba, shout out.
She's out in the hallway, just chilling. And Tony, thanks for having me as always.
Of course. Thanks for coming into the bedroom. You're one of the few that's had the pleasure of being in here.
Pleasure's all mine. Okay?
Goddamn right.
Let me say. Well, that's all we got this week. We'll look forward to you next week, and hopefully Aaron is doing shitty right now.
Yeah, I hope his quarterback is 6 touchdowns already.
Yep.
Mahomes style.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Later,
this is
folks.
The 3-Step Flop. My name's Gator Shran.
I'm Tony Hotel.
Bye.